Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liaoming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, homage to Master Dubdan Dorshi, homage to the three jewels of the altar, homage to the main deity of Homa today, Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, Sumo, Danzang Gatto, Dubdan Siddhi, Dubdan Kama, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma tutors, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do?
I stayed. Hola amigo, te quiero mucho. Scoin, ichiwa, kimochi ii, shumi, yapi, purin purin, konnichiwa.
I would like to announce now for next Sunday, November 10th, Sunday at 3 p.m. We will perform Manohara Homa fire offering ceremony, the wealth attracting goddess. We all know about Manohara. That's the deity emanated from the heart of Amitabha Buddha. And her mantra, and the mudra is Vajra hook. Vajra hook. Her body is red. Manohara ceremony has always have many primary supplicants. They all want to have golds falling from the sky, from the heavens showering gold upon them, gold bars. It's okay if you're hit by the gold bars and die. Many people would register for primary supplicants for Manohara. Akasagarbha Bodhisattva is considered a deity of wisdom. At the beginning of Tantric Buddhism, the one spread to Tibetan is called Tibetan Tantrayana, and the Chinese Tantrayana is the one that spread to China. It's Chinese Tantrayana, Tibetan Tantrayana. So the Tantric Buddhism that spread to Tibet and to China is called Chinese Tantrayana. That was at the beginning of Tang Dynasty. There were three that went to China from India, 3 lineage gurus. One is called Vajra Bodhi, Subhakarasima, and Amoga. So the ones who transmitted Tantrayana to China, Vajrabodhi, Amuga, and Subhakarasima. They were called the 3 great masters of the pioneers. And the great masters also meant Bodhisattva. And Amuga transmitted to Hui Guo, Elder Venerable, at the Green Dragon Temple. And Grandmaster has visited that temple, the Green Dragon Temple. Just the 3 of us? Someone have been there. That was outside Chang'an or now Xi'an. So the Venerable Elder Hui Guo, when he was about to leave the Saha world, and the Japanese student, oh no, that's the learned sage, were Kukai and Zui-Chen. So Zui-Chen went to Mount Tiantai and studied Tantric Buddhism, and that's called the Thai Tantrayana or Mount Tiantai Tantrayana. And Kukai went to Chang'an and studied the Chinese Tantrayana from the Venerable Elder Hui Guo and received the lineage at the Blue or Green Dragon Temple. After he received the lineage, he returned to Taiwan. To Japan. And Zui-Chen went back to Japan. I don't know. I never know how to pronounce that mountain, and establish the Thai Tantrayana. So Kukai was from the Green Dragon Temple and brought many tantric texts to return to Japan and took off from Changmen. And at the Takayama mountain established his own tantric Buddhism and was called Japanese Tantrayana. Shingon, the Shingon Buddhism. So some people talk about Tibetan Tantrayana, Thai Tantrayana, Chinese Tantrayana, and Japanese Tantrayana. Now you know the differences among them. And Kukai established the 88 temples or centers in Shikoku, Japan. And when Kukai was in retreat, he had 2 caves in Japan. When he was in retreat, a very deep caves that's very dark. Anyone's been there?
我都去过。
I've been there.
他在那边所修的本尊就是虚空常菩萨。
So when he was there, the deity of his practice was Akasagarbha.
他修虚空常菩萨求闻持法。
So he practiced Akasagarbha's
他坐在那个他自己修行的岩洞，
memory Dharma practice.
看到了天上
So
的那
in
个
his cave, he saw the star in the sky
这样子飞下来，
that
进入他的口，
flew down and entered his mouth.
从此以后，
And from then on,
就非常的兴旺，
Tantric Buddhism flourished,
非常的神速，
and his own spiritual cultivation progressed greatly.
打开了他的
And immediately,
气势，
it
现在
opened
是
his past lives, present lives, and future lives, and he knew about them all.
其实那个库凯
Actually,
对日本
Kukai
的文化帮助很大。 他
uh,
在西安的时候
benefited greatly toward Japanese culture. And when he was in Xi'an, he studied Sanskrit
那个
because back
从
then,
西安再走出去
from Xi'an
就是丝路，
further out, that would be the Silk Road.
就可以一直到我们知道那个
And you
西安
can
啊，那
continue.
时候的玄奘到那个天竺取经，
We know
印度去
about
取经
from Xi'an, the monk Xuanzang
那条路
also traversed the Silk Road all the way to India to obtain the sutras.
那个胡邦，胡邦就胡人，
So we call the Hu clans.
那西安也是就是长安呐、
So Chang'an is the same as Xi'an.
学了方
So
言
he
以后
studied
回
Sanskrit
到日
there,
本，
and when he returned to Japan,
本来日文本来是中文的，
so Japanese originally was of Han
中文跟
characters.
梵文
So he
混在一
changed,
起，
he transformed it to mix Sanskrit into the Han characters.
所以这个空海大师啊，对日本文化是很大的贡献。
So Kukai or Kobudaishi
创立了这个真言宗，
had great credit
东密
for the Japanese culture and language, established the Japanese
他修持
Tantayana
成就的
and
就
the
是虚
Kana,
空常菩萨。
and his attainments through the practice of Akasagarbha
跟大家
Bodhisattva.
讲，
And today we practice Akasagarbha, so I would like to share this.
从惠国老和尚
And the origin
中国的
was from the Venerable Elder Hui Guo from Chinese Tantayana, the lineage through Subhagaram Simha,
传承
Vajrabodhi, and Amuga, the lineage, and then all the way to Hui Guo, and who transmitted to Kukai, who went back to Japan and became Shingon Buddhism or the Japanese Tantayana.
去过那个空海隐居，那个修持虚空常菩萨，
Anyone that's been to the place where
师尊以外，应该还有别的。
Kukai practicing Akasagarbha?
你也有去？
Anybody else other than Grandmaster?
有没有进到那个岩洞？那个岩洞很深。
I went into that cave, and the cave was quite deep.
这里面很多的故事。
There are many stories in this. We'll talk about it more next time.
空海的
So the yidam of Kukai is Akasagarbha Bodhisattva. If you have attainment with this deity, your memory would be amazing. You will never forget after reading a sutra. Because he's the Vajra of treasury, who you would understand all sutras that before you couldn't understand, and then you will understand. And where you did not understand the sutras before, but after you have fruition and attainments with this deity, you would understand it clearly. And you would remember your past lives. And the memory in this present life will also be very strong. And you would always be first in class. Your wisdom would be like the ocean, the great ocean, boundless. So if you gain spiritual union with Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, then in the future you would become the standby Buddha. You can continue to become standby Buddha. The Vajra of treasury. So all the treasury of all Buddhism, all the storage or the treasury of all the sutras in Buddhism can be understood, and you can have attainments in this Dharma practice, and his Pure Land is the stars. Next to my desk at the Tribhuvan Foundation office,
go to river of star. Return, go to the river of the star.
Return to the river of stars. What I wrote, return to the river of stars. And the Pure Land of Akasagarbha Bodhisattva is the stars. And the Pure Land of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is the moon. So Akasagarbha Bodhisattva is the star. So Kukai saw the stars entering his body, which symbolizes his spiritual response. So of the 8 great bodhisattvas, Akasagarbha is one is the deity of wisdom and of merits and blessings, with tremendous blessings. By having wisdom, your blessings and merits would be as great as the ocean. And this deity is quite popular in Japanese Tantrayana, but not in Taiwan. Actually, he's a great deity in Taiwan. I mean, he's actually a great deity.
修它呢，可以得到智慧，可以得到的记忆。
So by practicing, you would be able to gain wisdom and blessings, and also a name and status, because you would be first in any examinations. So those with the most success are usually number one. The presidents are number one, and the vice presidents are number two.
所以在日本密宗来讲，空海大师就是第一名。
你帮我看这个，跟他们讲。So Kukai in Japan is also considered number one.
这里有一个秘密啊。
There's a secret here.
我们平时啊，我们念这个求文词，空场菩萨的咒语108遍。
When we chant this Akasagarbha mantra 108 times,
每天念，
and you chant it every day,
在日食夜食的时候，
but on the moon eclipse or sun eclipse,
日食夜食大家知道吧？好。
do you know what they are, right? The eclipses.
然后你把那个水，把供养的这个水集合起来。
And then you collect the offering water, and during the moon or sun eclipse,
星光之下，
you bring it under the stars, under the starlights,
然后再念咒，
and then you recite the mantra of Akasagarbha
再把这个
Bodhisattva,
水喝下去，
and then drink the water,
再祈求虚空场菩萨，
and then you pray to Akasagarbha Bodhisattva to gain spiritual union with ourselves and merge to become one. So that's the methods. During the solar or lunar eclipses, you brought a cup of water and under the stars and visualize it entering into the water, and then you drink the cup of water to symbolize this union of Akasagarbha with yourself, and it would increase your own memory capacity. Okay.
这里面我以前讲过。 88林场好像，我们也有很多人。
So the 88 spiritual centers in Shikoku, many of us have been there, right? Japan is divided into the Honshu, Kyushu, Honshu, Shikoku, Hokkaido, and I've been to all of them, all over Japan. From the northernmost, there's a place called Minji.
最神奇，我师尊去的那个北海道，跟那个日本的导游讲。
I went to Hokkaido and told the tour guide that there's a place in Hokkaido called Minji. But the tour guide said, no, never heard of it. And I said, yes, there's one. And he said he's been a tour guide in Hokkaido for so long, but I've never heard of that. And as we were discussing, there was a tour bus coming by that with that name of that place called Mingji. And the license plate was 0518, was my birthday. And traveling from Mingji. And the driver was called Seng Yan. So the driver was Seng Yan. Katsuhiko. So Ro Katsuhiko, but the driver was not with family named Ru. So the bus arrived as I was having the dialogue with the tour guide. Was talking about this place called Mingji. And look, this is the bus from that place called Mingji. So the tour guide was speechless. How could you know about such a place? Because it's in my memory somewhere. It's the northernmost small town in Hokkaido. And there was someone here that especially went to Mingji. She's here now. Can you please stand up? What did you see in Mingji? Okay, for the microphone. I saw Prince Shotoku and the great master Yongzhen. Okay. So there's a proof that Mingji does exist. She went there especially. It's a very, very tiny little town with only one main road, just one road. What are you doing going there? I want to see. And I told the tour guide, and they said that there is no such place. And the local residents were also surprised. Why are you coming here? Nobody knew about that place. There were no outsiders ever visited that place. And you saw the photo or the image of Prince Shotoku. I took photos and showed it to Grandmaster. So Prince Shotoku was from the Edo era. So he was a reincarnation of the second patriarch of the Tentai sect. The first patriarch was called Huiwen. The first patriarch. And the second patriarch was Hui Si. And the third patriarch was Zizhe. That's the third patriarch of Mount Tentai School. he was the one who compiled all the sutras and sastras the best. And the second patriarch's reincarnation in Japan, it was Prince Shotoku. And you could see the image of Prince Shotoku on Japanese yen bills. The 10,000 yen. It was the greatest figure during the era of Ashoka period. I have a great affinity with Japan. Although I wasn't born in Japan, my name is Katsuhiko. And my Japanese is so I learned a lot of Japanese songs when I was little. It's in my brain. And my parents spoke in Japanese to each other because they received Japanese education. Because Japan occupied Taiwan for 50 years. So my parents received Japanese education, so that's why the names became Japanese names. Well, by listening them speaking Japanese, when I got to Japan, I naturally could speak Japanese. Very strange. When I visited Japan, whatever they asked me to do in Japanese, I could speak. Like they had itch in their athlete's feet, and they asked me to buy at the drugstore there, and I did. I could buy the itch ointment. So I was immersed in Japanese when I was little, and then I went to Japan, and I have traveled all over Japan and even visited Takayama mountain of Kubudaishi, and I've been there 2 or 3 times. We haven't even started on the main topic. I've been talking for so long. Now, I'll share a joke. Last night I couldn't sleep. I was going to count sheep, but I thought about my lovely wife, so to respect her, I started to count 1 wife, 2 wives, 3 wives, and I got more and more elated, and I lost sleep. Last Friday,
I go to the Bambulich Island. Bambulich Island. Ho Chin is my daughter. In Bambulich, have the land and a small house. Small house, why small house? Bambulich have the 江卡森林呢？江卡啊，江卡
jungle.
这个 have a little bit small white house, the Ho Chin Island. one house in Jiangkan. No neighbor. 没有邻居啊 No people. Just one house. And 果园
Orchard.
有这个 apple, plum, apple, and no flower, fruit. 无花果。
And figs in Chinese is like flowerless fruits. And I thought if I am living there in seclusion, no one would be able to find me. No roads, only a path for enough for one car, and a very deep, and even the garbage trucks will not be able to reach that place. And you can see the ocean from there. And with dolphins. And with lots of deer. Very tonifying. Living there alone, living the rest of my life there would be nice too. The teacher asked the students, anyone can describe using 4 Chinese words someone that's ugly? And A said plain looking, and B said incomparably lucky, and Xiaoming said that's you, looking like you. Xiaoming is just a small employee and is always very drunk. And his boss said, drinking can create problems. If you don't drink like this, you would become department head already. But Xiaoming said, but by drinking, I already feel like I am the chairman. Now we'll do the Q&A. Lian Wang from Singapore. Lian Hua Yuang from Singapore. Guru Buddha, AI-generated digital humans are becoming widespread worldwide. Some say that humans, carbon-based life forms, are reaching our end and will gradually exit the stage of history. In our place, silicon-based life forms are emerging. Silicon, such as computers, servers, robots, and digital humans. They're all created from silicon. And some also suggest that we can upload our consciousness to the computers, these silicon-based beings, as allowing us to continue living as long as the computer persists, even indefinitely. As a disciple studying Buddhism, I instinctively resist this notion because I believe that even if human brains could successfully connect to computers and consciousness could be uploaded to the computers, it would still only be a model, an electromagnetic pattern. Would this model have awareness? Would it have Buddha nature? However, in one of your writings, there was an article that you described your encounter with the being born from lightning, possessing a spirit, but not a traditional form of life. This being attacked you, and you dispelled it by transforming into emptiness. This article opened my mind to new possibilities. I believe it corresponds to the concept of transformation birth within the 4 types of birth in Buddhism, which is birth from womb, moisture, egg, and transformation. If there can be beings born by transforming from lightning, could uploading our consciousness to a computer be considered another kind of transformation birth? If this concept holds, could a practitioner's consciousness, upon uploading to a computer, continue to cultivate within the machine? Could it even attain enlightenment? I don't know really about this. I can answer everything except this. What he meant is merge the human consciousness with the computer consciousness. And when the human merge with computer, you can continue to cultivate spiritually and gain enlightenment. Is that possible? So human consciousness enters into computer, merging with it, and then having the computer cultivate spiritually until enlightenment. Does computer have consciousness or have cognition? Consciousness entering into computer. This is all speculation. Let me consult and check. Please give us guidance. If human consciousness merge with computer, can human consciousness merge with computer? And can the computer cultivate spiritually and reach enlightenment? So, is it okay to have human consciousness entering into a computer? Humans' consciousness entering into computers. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Okay. After the consciousness enter computers, is there any awareness or feelings? Okay. Can computers cultivate spiritually? Can they gain enlightenment? I am confused what you're saying. What are you talking about?
会就会，不会就不会，
Yes or no?
两个答案，你不
Just
要站在
either
中
one.
间。
Don't be ambiguous. 他意思讲了，电脑不会休息， What they meant is that computers cannot cultivate spiritually. Computers
人
cannot
的意识，
cultivate.
人的意识可以结合电脑吗？
But can human consciousness merge with computers?
他是讲可以，
Yes,
人的意
is
识
the
可以
answer.
结合电脑，
So human consciousness can merge with computers, but they cannot cultivate spiritually. That's the answers.
好，那就回答你。
Well, that's
我
the
告诉你
answer.
哦，莲
Let
花
me
遗
tell
忘
you,
不是
莲花
我回
遗忘。
答你，
It's not me who answered. The sky is the one who answered.
他说意识可以结合电脑，
So they said
可是
that
电脑不能修行。
consciousness can merge with the computers, but computers cannot cultivate spiritually.
结婚以前，老婆对我说，这个老婆讲，老婆对老公讲，
After marriage, the wives told the husband,
第一个是
I have
勤
two strengths.
第二
One
个
is
是功夫
diligence,
好，
and second, I have
这两
great
点
gongfu.
还不错的，
That's not
勤快又
bad.
功夫好，所以就
I'm
跟他结婚
diligent
了。
and I have
结
great
婚以后
gongfu. That's before marriage, so I
疑
married her.
心人种，
And after we got
原
married,
来他真的功
I'm
夫好。
often bruised because she really have great gongfu.
就是问答哈，这个公司里
Q&A
面的，这个公司里面的问答，
Q&A in the workplace.
经常做不是人干
What
的
is
事。
HR? Oh, this is play a word of Chinese.
什
Chinese.
么叫做客服？
Chinese.
客人给客人服务。
Customer service.
他说很客客气气的拒绝为你服务。这是
Is
客服
when you
什么叫
politely
做同事？
reject
在
service.
公司里面呢，什么叫做同事？
What
就
is
是
a
同样的
co-worker?
是人却不做事。
That we are both humans, but we don't work. Yeah, this is
就是
only
经
meaningful in
常不
Chinese.
理你。什么是高管？就是高级主管，就是高高在上，什么也不管，叫做高管。什么是老板呢？老是板着臭脸孔，这叫做老板。什么是总裁？就是他总要一直在想办法把你辞职，把你裁掉，叫做总裁。什么叫做总监？就是他经常监视你在做什么。好，我们讲维摩诘经。
Now we'll discuss the Vimalakirti Sutra.
这个释迦牟尼可能是释迦牟尼我讲的。
It may be Sakyamuni Buddha who said,
阿难啊，
Yes, Ananda, let me tell you,
已尽止啊，诸所思维无非佛事。
the majestic presence, manners, and all actions and movements of the Buddhas,
行住坐卧，
so all the
全部都是佛法。
activities of the Buddhas are all Buddha
昨天已经
Dharma.
讲过了，
We've talked about
所
this
作
last
所
night.
为 全部都是佛法。
all actions and movements are Buddha
阿
Dharma.
难啊，有跟
Ananda,
阿难讲，
also still telling Ananda,
我们知道有
we
四
know
魔，
there are four
什么是
maras.
四
What are the four
魔？有
maras?
天魔，
The celestial
有
mara,
死魔，
the
有
mara of
烦恼
death,
魔，
mara of
有
afflictions,
有这个病魔，
mara
还
of
有五蕴
illness,
魔。
and also
五蕴魔
mara
就是
of
烦恼，
five skandhas, which are the same as mara of
五蕴魔就
afflictions.
是烦恼魔，天魔、死魔、病魔、
So
烦恼
celestial
魔。
mara, mara
这
of
四魔。
death, mara of afflictions, mara of
另外
illnesses.
呢，还有84000种
And there
烦
are
恼门。
also
我们人的烦恼很多，数
84,000
不清
doors
楚。
of afflictions. We have
我
so
每天在
much
烦恼事情，很
afflictions,
多烦恼。
countless of them. We have so many
84000种诸
afflictions
烦
and
恼门，
troubles,
而诸众生为之疲劳。他
which
让所有的众
exhausts
生
all sentient
感觉到
beings.
有点活不下去，
So sentient beings
觉得
feel
也很累。
exhausted and
活
cannot
在这
live
世界
on.
上，娑婆世界很累。
They feel tired of lives
这
living
个
in
释
the
迦牟
Saha
尼佛
world.
告诉阿难，
So
诸
Sakyamuni Buddha
佛
told
既以
Ananda,
此法而作佛事。
the Buddhas use these methods as the work of the
那释迦
Buddha.
牟尼佛在娑婆世界
So
用什么来
Sakyamuni
做佛事？
Buddha in
用
the
苦
Saha
啊！
world
人生是苦啊，
uses what as the
因为
Buddha's work?
苦啊，你才懂
He
得修
used
行。
suffering.
苦就是佛法。
Because you understand suffering, then you know to cultivate spiritually. Therefore, suffering is
因为
the
苦
work
你
of
才
the
想修
Buddha.
行啊。
And due to suffering, you want to
你受到
cultivate
这些
spiritually.
烦恼，受到这些苦，
So
诸
after
佛
being
既以此
afflicted
法而作
and
佛事，
suffered,
种种烦恼都是佛法。
the Buddhas use all these
种种
methods as the
魔
work of the Buddha.
也
All
是
kinds
佛。
of afflictions, all kinds
所以
of
这里就是
maras
讲
are Buddha Dharma.
佛魔一如，
And maras are Buddhas too.
烦恼
That's why
就是
we
菩
say
提。
maras and Buddhas are one.
因
And
为有烦恼，
afflictions are also enlightenment.
反过来讲，你才会发菩提心。
And because you have afflictions, you
因为
generate
苦，你
bodhicitta.
才修行。
And because of
才发菩提心。
suffering, you cultivate spiritually
苦
and
就是
generate
佛法。
bodhicitta. Therefore,
因为有
suffering is
魔，
Buddha Dharma.
你才想
And because there are
你要离开这
maras,
个魔，
you want to abandon maras,
你才可以成佛。
and therefore
所以
you
魔
can
就是佛。
become Buddhas. Therefore,
佛魔一
maras
如
are
啊，
Buddhas.
并没有二如。
Maras are Buddhas are
因
one.
为烦恼，你
Not
才会生
two.
菩提心啊。烦恼
And
就是菩提呀。
because of afflictions, you generate bodhicitta. Therefore, afflictions are bodhi.
用这些方法
or
是
enlightenment.
引入一切诸佛的法门，用种种的
So by using all
方法，你
these
生病了，
methods, it's called entering the
才
Dharma
想解
gate
脱
of
啊，
all the Buddhas.
解脱这个病魔。
So because you're sick, that's why
那
you
病就
want to
是
be
佛
liberated
法，
from the mara of illnesses.
他是这样子
Therefore,
讲。释
the
迦牟尼佛
illness
讲，
is Buddha Dharma.
是名入
Sakyamuni
一
Buddha
切诸
said.
佛法门，
So it's called
这是
entering the Dharma
一
gate
如，
of all
不是二如。
Buddhas. So it's all the
不二
same,
法
it's
门
all
就是这
one
样子。
and not two. That's the Dharma gate of
菩
non-duality.
萨入此门者，若
When the
见一切
Bodhisattva
净好
enters
佛
this
土，
gate, even if they
有菩萨
see
进
all
到
pure
这个
and
三昧里
splendid
面，
Buddha verses, when the
这个
Bodhisattva
叫做
enters
一
samaya,
如
samadhi,
三昧。若见一
that's
切净好
called the
佛土，
samadhi of
看到
oneness,
佛土非常的
and
清
they
净，
see pure and magnificent
也
Buddha
并不是
verses,
很欢喜，并不是欢
they
喜。
feel neither joy
看到娑婆世界，若见一切不净佛土，不净的佛土，娑婆世界就是不净的佛土了。
or if they
看到
see
娑婆世界，
impure Buddha verses, such as
不
the
以
Saha
为忧，
world, they don't
也不感
feel
觉到忧
sorrow.
愁，一点妨碍都没有。没有
And
障
no
碍。
hindrances whatsoever.
看到清净，你
Whether
也不
they
会很
say
欢喜；
purity, they don't
看到
feel
很脏，
extreme joy. And they
你也不
see
会很厌恶。
filths, you don't see
这个叫做
any
净慧一如。
despise either. So purity and
你看我们人
impurity
啊，
are one.
讲干净也是很干净的，
So
吃的东西
as
就
for
是不能
humans, we
吃
can
有
say
细菌
they are clean.
但是你吃下去以后，化学作用，
But after you
本
eat
来香的进去
the
就变
fragrant
成臭的
food,
出来，
then you
干净的
excrete
进
the
去
filthy stuff.
没有细菌的，就变成细菌出来。
And you eat food free
所以
from
净
germs,
秽
but
一如啊，
the excretion is filled
净秽
with
是一如的。
germs. So therefore, cleanliness and filth are one.
啊，清净的跟不清净的，一点障碍都没有。
So whether it's pure or impure, there is no hindrances whatsoever.
一切啊，都是清净的。
Everything is
如果你
pure.
修到了一昧
When you reach,
啊，一昧，
you cultivate and reach
这个时候呢，
one
完
taste,
全都是清净的，
then
没有什么脏的
everything
东西。
is completely pure. There is nothing called
欢喜恭敬
filth.
未曾有，哎，只是从来没有的这种事情，啊，不会感觉
so
到
the-，
也不会感觉到欢喜，也不会感觉到
they
都不会
simply
有，
cultivate a pure mind
就是
with
没有
unprecedented
高
joy and
低
reverence.
上下敬畏，都
So
是一如。
you don't feel either
诸佛
joy,
如来啊，
attachments, conceited,
功德
or
平等，
sorrow,
所有
obstruction.
的佛
Everything
都
is the
是一
same.
样的，他的功
So
德都是平
the
等。
virtues and merits of the Tathagatas are all
佛
equal.
跟
All
佛
the
之间
Buddhas
呢，
are the same.
度化众生显现的不同，
So among the
但是呢，
Buddhas, they
他们的功
may
德
deliver
是一
sentient
样，
beings
完全
differently,
是一样的，
but their merits are
只
completely
是
the
因为
same.
度化众生的原因而
But
出
just
现的佛土不同。
they manifest different Buddha verses
哪
to
一个
teach
根据的，
sentient
就到哪一
beings.
个净土；
So
什么样根
you
据
go
的，就
to
到哪个
whichever
净土。
pure land based on your
是
spiritual
因为
root.
人本身不同，根器
So
不
that's
同，
because
所以
sentient
显
beings
现不同
differ
的佛法
and the
跟不
spiritual
同的
roots
净
are
土。
differ. Therefore, the Buddhas manifest
佛
different
所
Buddha
有佛的
Dharma
功
and
德是
different
平
pure
等。
lands. But the merits of the Buddhas are all the same.
这是很高的智慧哦，
This is a very
一
high
般来讲是
wisdom.
讲不出来的。
Generally,
今天现
it's
在跟大家
hard
讲
to
的这一段，
explain. Today, I talk about
这里
this
就是讲
passage.
佛魔一如，
This is talking about the sameness of
因为
Buddhas
佛，
and
因
Maras.
为有魔，你才能够成佛啊！
Because they are
是
Maras
佛魔一如，
that
以
you can
魔来
become
做佛事。
Buddhas. So you use Maras
因为
as
有
the
烦
Buddha's
恼，
work.
你才发菩提心呐、
And because you have affliction, you generate
烦恼
bodhicitta
就
or
是
the
菩提
mind
啊，
or aspiration for
因为
enlightenment and
苦，
liberation.
你才想修
So
行啊。
afflictions are enlightenment. And because of suffering, you want
所
to
以苦
cultivate
啊，
spiritually.
跟
Therefore,
乐是一如，
suffering and happiness are one, are
这
the
里
same.
啊，佛魔一如，
So Buddhas,
烦恼就是
Amaras
菩
are the
提，
same. Afflictions
苦就是乐，
is enlightenment. Suffering is
全部
happiness.
都是在一如里面。
They're all the same.
所以看见了清净的佛果，
So
也不用
seeing
太高
pure
兴；
Buddhaverse,
看
there's
见
no
肮
need to
脏
be
的
elated.
佛土，
When you see
你也不
filled
用担忧。
Buddha land, there's no need to be sorrowful.
像我们人一样啊，
Like us human beings,
什么是清净？
what is pure?
我们吃香的进去啊，
We
就
eat
臭的就出来。
something fragrant and we
香臭一
excrete
如
something
啊。
foul.
当初为什
So
么你不吃
cleanliness
臭的
of
呢？
fragrance and filth are the same. So why didn't you just take something foul?
我告诉你啊，你今天回到你的厕所那边呢，
And you go to your
出来的东西
toilet
啊，你把它挖一点起来吃，沾看看。
and you eat whatever you excrete
是
and
你身体的
try.
东西啊，有什么
But that's from your own
有什么好担
body.
心的，对
What's
不
no
对？
big deal? What's so big deal
你
about
从
it?
你身体里面出来的
Why
啊，
you worry about it?
你挖一点吃下去，你就开悟了。
So if you eat that, then
香
you
臭
would
一如啊， 你以后啊不用喝水啦，
you would be enlightened
你用你那个瓶子
because
啊，你
fragrance
搅出来的东
and
西
filth are the
装了水，
same.
你就再把它喝下去。
And you can just drink the water that you excrete
因为你
because
喝水
urine
就
and
变成
water
尿
are the
啊。
same because you
喝
drink
汤也变
water
成
and
尿
it
啊。
becomes urine.
当初
You
为什么
drink
不喝
soup
尿？
and becomes urine. So why don't you just drink urine?
尿水是一如啊，你喝了尿你就知
So
道
water and
这个就
urine
是
are
开
the
悟。
same. And then you would know when you drink the urine, and that's called enlightenment.
对啊，你看师尊，一下子哭，一
And
下
look
子
at
笑，
Grandmaster Master
这个不是当时是
crying
什
and
么？
laughing,
就是
a moment
crazy
crying, a
Dharma
moment
king.
laughing. So am I not crazy Dharma King?
孔子法王啊，对不对？
I am a crazy
Crazy
Dharma
Dharma
King.
孔子法王，你看昨天哭的这个要死，
I was
今天
crying
呢
so
笑的要
hard
死，
yesterday, and now I laugh so
笑跟
hard.
哭有什么差别？
So what's the difference between crying
干
and
净跟
laughing?
臭有什么差别？
So
都
what's
是
the
你身
difference
上的东
between
西啊，
cleanliness and
你为什么
filth?
不敢喝呢？
Those are all from your
对不
body.
对？
Why don't you dare to take
尿
them?
也是你尿出来的啊，
And the
是你
urine
身上的
you
东西啊。
excrete,
那
it
大便也
comes
是
from
你
your
身上的东
body.
西啊，
And the poop
你怎么不敢吃
is
呢？
also from your body. Why don't
你
you
眼
dare
睛
to eat
错
it?
了，眼睛错乱的啦，可以吃
That's
的。
because you're tricked by your own eyes. You can't take them.
我告诉你啊，没东西吃你就吃那个就会饱。
So if you have nothing to eat, you just eat that
你口
and
渴
you would be
你
filled.
喝你自己的尿啊。
And when you're thirsty, you can drink your own pee.
可以的，怎么不可以？
It's fine.
这个诸佛菩萨都是crazy。
All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are crazy.
沙漠喝尿嘛，因为没有水喝嘛，当然喝尿啊。
On
没
the
东西
deserts,
吃
they drink pee because they have no water. And when they have no food,
所以这个就是一如。
so that's
这里我
called
讲跟大家坦白讲，
sameness. So
哭
I
啊跟
frankly
笑是一
tell
如
you,
啊，
laughing and crying are
同样的
the
东西
same.
啊，都是你心里感动啊，
Are all emotions
你心里
from
感
your
动你就
heart.
哭嘛，你心里感动你就笑啊。
When you touch,
同样
you
是心
cry. When you
发出来的。
touch, you laugh. They're all created by your heart and mind.
这个菩萨他看得很清楚，所以他无喜也
And
无忧，
bodhisattvas
他没有很
can
欢喜，
see
但是也没有
lucidly,
很忧虑，
so they are
一切都是没有
neither
什么障碍的。
joyful
一切都是没有什么障碍。
or sorrowful. They have no hindrances whatsoever.
什么都可以啊，
Everything is
真
fine,
的，
really.
在这个世界里面呢、
In this world,
没有什么障碍，
there are no
就是
hindrances.
从来没有的。这个
It's
维摩诘经所讲的
unprecedented.
东西啊，
Everything that's talked about in the Vimalakirti Sutra
很少有人能够体会到这么深。
is rarely understood very
就是
clearly.
一如，就是不二法门，
Oneness, Dharma
这个
gate
就是
of
进入不二法
non-duality.
门的实践。
So
没有什么香的、臭
this
的，
is the
没有什么
application
高的、
of
低
entering the
的，
Dharma gate
没
of
有什么大
non-duality.
的、小
There
的。
is nothing called fragrant or
真正到
foul,
了
big
菩
or
萨，
small.
到了那个深地的菩萨，或者是
high or low, if you enter the high level of bodhisattvas, even the maras are the high level bodhisattvas, or bodhisattvas of the deeper ground.
烦恼就是菩提呀。
Afflictions are enlightenment.
烦恼就是菩提呀，魔就是佛啊。
So maras are Buddhas.
以前认为哇，佛跟
In the
魔是
past,
不可能的，
we
不可
think
能。原来佛就是魔，
impossible
魔就
maras
是
are
佛。
Buddhas, but
原来
actually
烦恼
it
就是
turned
菩
out
提呀。
maras are Buddhas and Buddhas
所
are
以
maras.
你能够领
Afflictions are
悟到这一
enlightenment.
种一
If
如
you
的时
can
候啊，你就
understand
完全没
this
有障碍啊。
sameness, then you have no hindrances whatsoever.
所以我讲如来，
So
如来跟
I
如
was
气是一
saying
样。
that
我
thus
们以为有
coming
来，
and thus going are the
来
same.
来这个娑婆世界，
And we
其实你根
think
本没有来。
that we come to this world, but actually,
你以
no,
为
you have
你有
not.
离开娑婆世界，
And you
其实
think that
你
you
根
have
本也没有离
left
开。
the Saha world, but actually there is no going either.
就是如气，如来跟如气是一样的。
So
那
thus
那是
coming
佛的一
and
个
thus
称呼。
going are the
如
same.
来，诸
That's
佛
what
如来，
the epithets of the Buddhas
佛
too,
如
Tathagata.
来
Buddhas and Tathagatas
都是一样
are
的。
the same.
讲到这里啊，最有
Talking
智
to
慧的这
this
个虚空场菩萨，就是最清楚。
The wisest Akasagarbha Bodhisattva would be most clear
因为我
about
们
this.
每一个学佛的人，
Really, each
到了一个境
Buddhist
界以后，
practitioner,
他终于明白一
upon
切。
reaching a certain
你
state,
明白一切了，
would comprehend
你就对
everything.
什么都不会执着。
Once you comprehend everything, you have no
不会
attachment
执
toward
着的话，
anything.
你就是
Without any attachment,
所谓的任运自在。
you become spontaneous and have
任
great
运自在。
self-mastery. Everything
像你
happens
这个，
at will and unobstructed.
我们《正佛经》里面不是提到吗？
Like it's mentioned in the
以
TBSN
无
Sutra,
念为正觉佛法。这
the
句话，以
true
无念为正觉佛法。
the true
那时候你没有什么
Buddha
念头，
dual realization is the
一切都是
state
平
of
等。
no thought. At such a state, there is no thought. Everything
那
is
才是
equal.
无上正等正觉。
Only then
阿
that's
耨多
the
罗三藐三
supreme
菩提，
perfect enlightenment, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi,
一切都是
the
平等。
highest right realization, right equality. Everything is equal.
就是如来啊。
That's Tathagata.
有如来如去修行无上正等正觉，
So
阿耨多罗
Tathagata
三藐三菩提，
no coming, no going. Anuttara
平
Samyak
等
Sambodhi,
无二，平等无二，
complete
什么都是佛事。
equality,
什
non-duality,
么都是佛。
and everything is Buddha's work. Everything is Buddha Dharma.
只是从来没有讲《维摩诘经》讲到这么样子，
So, up to
Yes,
here, the
未曾有。
Vimalakirti Sutra,
未曾有的。一般来
what's
讲，
discussed in this Vimalakirti Sutra is
所以你看，
something never happened before.
他是这样子讲。最后一段
So,，the last statement here,
如来的功德是平等，
the virtues
为
and
化
merits of
众
the
生
Tathagatas are
而
equal,
显现的佛土
yet
不
they
同。
manifest different Buddha verses to teach
众生
sentient
是因
beings.
为有，众生因为有
And
他的根
because
器，
sentient beings
有
have
他的分
different
别。
spiritual
众生是
roots
分别，
and differentiations,
有根
because
器有
there
分别，
are differentiations
所以它才
among
显
sentient beings.
佛才显现不同的佛土。
That's why the Buddhas manifest different Buddha verses.
所以佛的功德是平等，一切都是平等。
Therefore, the merits and virtues of the Buddhas are equal, and everything is equal.
今天我去买菜，问老板
Today, I
螃蟹怎
went
么卖？
shopping and
老板
asked the
讲
boss,
158块钱一斤。
how much is the crab?
我说太贵了，不要。
158 a pound.
老板
That's too
手指的
expensive.
旁边
I don't
那
want
个
it.
螃蟹，这个螃蟹刚刚死，
And the boss
18
said,
块钱一
but
斤。
this one just died. It's 18 a
我
pound.
说啊，死的。
And I said,
老板看了我一眼，
Dead
因为太
one?
贵了，没人买，所以他螃蟹自己气死了。
the crab died because nobody bought it.
这里有一篇作文，叫做学霸。
There's an
我们班
article
上有一个很厉害的学霸，
about
他上课
a
一
nerd.
般都是闭目养神。
And in the
当
class,
他睁开
during
眼睛
class,
的那一刻，
he would
老师
just
就知道
close
自己
his
哪里讲
eyes.
错了。
And when he opened his eyes, the teacher would
而
know
小
that
明
he
呢，在
said
学
something
校也
wrong.
是一个这一类型的学霸，
And Xiaoming too was a
贫困秋
nerd
色。
of the same caliber.
每当小明一睁开眼睛，
And when
老
Xiaoming
师就
opened
知
his
道要
eyes,
下课了。
the teacher would know it's time to get off class,
哦，妈的，别迷
finish
糊。
class.
非常感谢法王圣尊
Om Mani
莲
Padme
生活
Hum
佛宝贵。